funny enough that you say this. I was watching a little Instagram video, I think last night or yesterday. One of the Barstool Sports guys, I don't know his name, not the owner.
Not Dave, right?
No, it was some other guy. He's kind of annoying, but he got on there and he was saying, it's been one day. The Joe Rogan thing just happened on Spotify, and already some of like the more
Alex Jones, Michaela Peterson,
the more
Really?
wonky ones
they're
are
not on
missing.
there.
So
They're missing? What do you mean?
they didn't
They just
get
weren't
put
uploaded.
over onto Spotify.
They
Because
didn't?
it's supposed to, all his full episodes were supposed to come off YouTube, which they did. They're all supposed to go on to Spotify. And I think some of the real polarizing ones
No, they're not
didn't
there.
turn up. So I
That
don't
was like
know
the
if
best one.
Joe
Every
was
time Alex
like,
Jones is on there, it's a
100
blast.
M's, yeah, do whatever, take a few episodes off, I don't care, or if they did that behind his back or what, but
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would
really care.
that would get me.
I don't need to watch Alex Jones'
Yeah, I know.
podcast, but some of them are really
Well,
cool.
I think like with somebody like Alex Jones, I mean, you should be able to leave it to the average civilian to be able to tell that he's kind of full of shit.
Even if he is crazy,
in
even
a lot of ways.
So like,
You know?
even if that is a polarized, at least. So how would you know what crazy is if it did not exist, right? You would have to have, okay, this guy is fucking
Alex Jones is nuts.
gone. You know what I mean?
Dude's
Just
nuts.
gone. Because he is. He's like, everything's a conspiracy. Interdimensional child molesters. Like everything's an vampiric interdimensional child molester. If you don't have people like that, you don't know who normal people are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela Peterson, was also on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
That one wasn't uploaded.
Why?
I think
love
it
Jordan
could be
Peterson.
because
Yeah, I'm a big fan. 12 Rules of Life was awesome.
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, my first guess is that she supports like a carnivore diet, which is an all meat diet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
right?
he did it for a while.
And
too.
so I think perhaps
That's fucked up.
people
That'd be
don't
wicked.
want information like that getting out because it could be harmful. But
So,
I mean,
see,
All right,
that's
that elite veganism.
that you got to let people
They don't
decide.
want.
People are crazy, and if that leads somebody to their death, I mean, here's the thing: at what point do you stop that? Do you stop? Like you can buy a car and
Right.
then you could drive it off a cliff,
Mm-hmm.
or a gun and shoot yourself,
Yep.
or too many sleeping pills. I mean, do we just live in like this, cushion box?
It's getting more and more censored.
Especially with information that's not really that, like, it's not like it's thrown in your face. You have to go to Joe Rogan's, go 10,000 episodes back,
literally,
and find it.
2-3 hours a piece.
Right. It's like there's
Skim
so much
through and
information.
find
Yeah.
it, yeah.
It's not like it's just like people are like, I heard it was a good idea and I just started eating meat and then
yeah.
now I'm dead. Like I don't know. I have more faith in humanity. Obviously there is a lot of not as intelligent people, will say. But there always will be, and there's nothing taking bad information out doesn't make people smarter. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Educating people makes people smarter.
Exactly.
Giving them
Well,
better.
some might
information.
argue that the goal isn't to make people smarter.
Yeah, that's true too.
And that,
That's very true. Yeah.
the goal could be,
You could
mischievous or
a little bit more, as Jordan Peterson would say. What's the word he likes to use there? Malevolent.
Yeah,
malevolent.
that's
Yeah.
the word.
Bloody
It's a good word. It's malevolent.
Yeah.
But dude, so you're reading 12 Rules of Life?
Yeah.
Dude, how do you like it so far?
I love it. I love him. I just saw he had a class going around.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get that going as soon as I finish the book. And
Good for you, man. I'm a big fan of that book.
Are you talking about the self-authoring thing that he does?
Yep.
Dude, that's probably gonna be awesome.
I
Yeah.
took the personality test that he offers, and I found the results were
Yeah,
interesting.
self-awareness is
Yeah.
so key, and everyone can think, they're as self-aware as could be, but, you definitely have some. I think everybody's got at least something underlying that they're not
There's so
fully
much-
aware of,
There's so much you learn about yourself, especially when you come
Right.
across information like that. I
Yep.
mean, it's deep.
Yeah.
And you realize things about yourself that, especially, so when I'm listening to philosophy of any kind, there's always things that are brought up that I go, holy shit. Like that's been an algorithm my brain has been running for a long time.
Yeah.
That's been a problem I've been having for a long
Yep.
time. and I can't believe
You
it
couldn't
was
even
just
put your thumb on it.
couldn't even put
Yeah.
my thumb on it and just brought up so simply. And there's a lot of great. I mean, are you a big fan of a lot of philosophy? Do you listen to
Yeah,
other
I
people like
mean,
Alan Watts and like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of that intellectual dark web, I give those dudes and dudes like Joe Rogan a lot of credit, just for giving people perspective in such a tumultuous time, like
Yeah.
even at the 2016 like election and how crazy everything's been since then.
It's
Just like
important.
I said, like they're these extreme ideologies are no bueno,
Yeah.
on either side.
Either side.
You know what I mean? And I feel like they kind of helped people kind of find a middle ground.
And more
That
so
have a
than
good
ever.
head on their shoulders. People
There's
that have a good
definitely
head on their
something to be
shoulders.
said to be able to willingly listen to somebody who's in opposition with you without getting emotional about it. You know?
Exactly. I am a little like progressive in most things that I view, but like I'm a Second Amendment advocate. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree
And now-
with
and-
everything just because that's the narrative of a certain side. I
Yeah.
feel like that's very, very dangerous, on both sides
Oh yeah.
to think like that. And there's another, I forget who said it, but this quote, it's like, you shouldn't argue your point of view until you can argue the opposite point of view even better,
That's a
and
good
it's
one.
just like, it's just having that understanding, there's a huge lack of that right now, and in this
The willingness to
climate.
understand too is
Yeah,
is
exactly.
really
and
really
like we were
just,
talking about that identity politics thing, maybe new information did come out and you're scared to say you were wrong, and that's a problem too.
dude, fucking nail right on the head with that one. That was actually just a really good point you made there, because that's just it. There's so many people right now still worshiping the original narrative, even though things have changed from the original narrative,
Right.
and they don't, and they might not want to admit to that. And it's not that you don't have to consider all possibilities, but living in fear is not the answer.
No, it's not.
It's not,
It never
man.
was.
Even if going out and doing something that you love means you might die, I think I'd rather that than be afraid of doing what you love.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's sacrifices in everything, and typically the more sacrifice, the better it is. Like you believing in your
Absolutely.
dreams, you
yeah,
know?
of course.
Chasing
you
your
gotta,
dreams.
and it feels like, you're at end of days, and, that cliche, it's always darkest before the dawn type of thing, like you could be right around the corner from the next big step, and
Masterpiece.
you'll never know if you don't put the work in or take a risk.
Right.
I'm a big believer in taking risks, whether that's in business or
Well, like even your road trip.
self-expression, or yeah, exactly.
Even that road trip. I mean, there's an unsurmountable amount of risk. The amount of time you spent driving. How many people die in a 20-minute
Oh
drive
my
ride?
God! And
Your
not
car
to
broke
mention
down.
the amount of hours you're driving, and it's your turn to drive, and you're getting the heavy eyelids going.
Yo, I've been there.
That's rough, dude.
I've been there.
You gotta will yourself to.
You
not
start
die.
dreaming while you're awake.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been
man.
that tired coming back from the
Yeah.
White Mountains, man. We sometimes take a road trip up to New Hampshire, up to the Whites.
Mhm.
It's like 3 hours away, and depending on how long the hike lasts, and after a long hike, you're freaking
Gassed, yeah.
gassed,
absolutely.
and then you're driving. So if you're tired, man, you can get really tired.
Yeah.
Bro,
it's
especially if
important
you
to
stop for
pull
dinner
over.
and a nice cold refreshing beer after
Yeah,
the
you
hike.
guys would. I'd never have the drinks. I don't know
Bro,
how
you-
you guys do the drinks
you get,
after,
you get a
man.
big dinner, a nice cold refreshing beer after exerting yourself all day.
Yeah.
Then you just bask in the glory of the struggle that you accomplished.
Uh-huh.
And it's beautiful.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful. It is beautiful. But yeah, making full circle on that point, man. I mean, think about the amount of risk overall, and then the struggle of it, sleeping in there. But look at the outcome. You guys got all the experience. You guys got to go to
Mhm.
shows and probably meet new people, and
Oh my God, yeah.
and learn new things about the way you perform together. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a
and-
lot of learning
yup.
in that, in
Oh,
just
yeah.
doing that alone.
Dialing it in, yeah.
Dialing in.
Touring with other bands and picking stuff up off them, and them picking stuff up off of you, and them just being from other states and other, having different worldviews. It's like an intimate thing being on the road with a friend or an acquaintance.
Yeah.
It's you're closer than close at a lot of times, you know.
Yeah.
It's to the point, like I said, it gets really frustrating
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
But
and
it's all, you know,
it
like I
does,
said,
man.
it's all worth it.
It's
you
all
know?
love. It's all
Yep.
love. You know, there's nothing. Honestly, it's like that, because the closer you get to people you know, the more you find out things about yourself and them that you hate.
Yeah.
And you can that can often be off-putting, and,
Oh,
and it
God.
makes for challenges within that relationship.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, anybody who has to work together intimately like that has to overcome those types of things. Like I was just saying, even with my business partners, there's things that we have to kind of get used to about each other that
Right.
we're not like always 100%, but we get through it, and we communicate, and
Yep, communication is key, and kind of sometimes you have to take a step back, and maybe something isn't done exactly the way you would do it, but you have to get over that because you can't do everything, you know?
and to really kind of make this full circle, that's kind of the biggest thing missing right now, is people are communicating to each other on a massive scale
Mhm.
through what is presented to them by the television, by these articles.
Mhm.
It's not like they're sitting down across the table from each other and talking about how they feel, because I think more often than not, if I was a betting man, I would say people agree on more things than they disagree on.
I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? But they don't take the
Mhm.
time to explain that, or use the right tools to convey it. Because typically, the way people are communicating now is they'll share a polarizing article
Yep.
or a polarizing one-sided video.
Yep.
There's never that many videos, unless I'm watching a podcast. I don't really see any middle-lined type of content. It's usually one side or the other.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why these short bursts of information are not really all that helpful, and they're designed to be clickbaity like that,
Yeah.
you know, and like, oh, I identify with this, so I'm going to share it, and it's going to piss
Yeah,
off
it's
the
all
people
about
that
triggering
don't
an emotional
identify, you
response.
know. That's why this open forum sort of conversation is so important, you know. I'm so happy
Big.
that you're doing this, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy that this is like a big thing now, because everyone's saying with technology, everyone's fucking attention span is
Yeah.
less than a goldfish or some
Well,
bullshit like
there's-
that. It's like people in droves are firing up 3-hour
Yeah.
long conversations on their TV, and
Yeah.
listening to it intently. It's like, I don't know about all that goldfish bullshit.
Yeah. It's really it's really the fact of the matter is that technology has just as many positives as it does negatives. Though, like, going
Chaos
back,
and order.
right, it goes back to using it to become more than just yourself, and
Right.
that typically involves creativity.
Mhm.
As powerful as a computer or a cell phone might be, as far as a search engine goes, because that's really what we use probably 99% of our phone to do is
Yeah.
search things. That's
Reading, yeah.
reading or looking up things, and
Yep.
even Facebook is a
Research.
search engine that's made up of your friends.
Yep.
Instagram's the same. All
Yep.
these social media platforms are exactly the same. They just have a different bit of content. Like Twitter might be more text savvy, Instagram is more picture savvy, Facebook's a little combination of the both. Facebook's become more of a marketing platform, in
It
my
has.
opinion.
It's kind of like other than that, it's more like a
Yeah. Well,
shitty battlefield.
yeah, it's
of
like a shitty battlefield. It's like,
ideologies.
yeah, exactly. It's like the place where the worst type of communication goes down, because the most communication can happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's so, I don't know, man. I hope people can see that and find a way to use their technology a little bit more productively. But yeah, you had a good point, like saying, I'm pro Second Amendment as well,
Mhm.
and like you say that, and immediately, oh, you're conservative Nazi or something, it could be like that.
Yeah.
And that has
exactly.
nothing to do with it. It's just
Right.
like, well, I don't know if people, in my opinion, you make something. I'm also pro legalize all drugs.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, you have a system in place to distribute a product. We don't have to talk about drugs, but a system in place to distribute product. Where else are you going to go for a Dunkin' Donuts coffee? Because you like Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Yep.
You're not going to come to my house.
Right.
But if you know what I mean? But as time goes on and you have some system in place where you can go to a professional to get a substance that could possibly kill you, it's
Right.
better to go to a professional to give it to you. And be
Right,
like,
it's
okay,
like-
Greg, you've been here 9 times this week.
Are
Yeah.
you ready to get some help?
Do you want
because
help,
we have
or-
those resources for
Yeah.
you. That's fantastic idea,
Versus-
and a lot of other countries do that. And
Yeah, Portugal did it not too long ago. Legalized all drugs.
Unfortunately, there's just it's more to that business side of things where there's a lot of money made.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it goes back to the prisons being private.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
so
Huge,
criminals are in
huge
demand.
Problem. Huge
Criminals are in
problem.
demand
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
case.
Modern.